Hello,
Oh, hello.
I'm Sammi,
And I'm Steve.
and you're listening to Roseplate Special, the most dramatic 50-50-ist, mad-adoringest, I don't know if I've got a third one. Confusing drama-ingest recap podcast of The Bachelor ever.
Ever.
Okay, yeah, and I feel like I need to just address this. I don't like the way my bangs are today. We're gonna move on, but I just needed to say that.
Yeah.
So I don't
Now
want
that
all
you've
the
addressed it, it's all
comments.
anyone can focus on.
No, I actually think they probably look not that bad, but I couldn't get them just quite right because I had them right this morning. And then,
hmm
and I also feel like I'm still slightly shiny, but I didn't want to like completely cover my face because I just got a facial. And I feel like that's like eating Oreos after going to the dentist.
hmm
It just feels wrong. You do it before.
It's true.
So, but anyway, I got a facial today and you're going to get a facial tomorrow. We're so
Oh,
fancy. What is up with that?
probably the two fanciest podcasters on the
Yeah,
internet. Yeah.
obviously. So I do have some bad news, and that's we don't have a Jilly box to
Oh,
unbox right now.
no.
I thought it would come
Okay.
by today. So it's gonna have to wait until you're back from vacation, I guess.
hmm
Um, do you want to know the secret thing or you don't want to know the secret thing?
I don't want to know the I love
Okay.
surprises.
There's a dog hair on my microphone. Okay, we're gonna pick
Quit
that
putting
off.
dogs on your microphone. That's the
There's
problem.
there's dogs. There's dogs on the microphone. That's the surprise. Okay.
hmm
Yeah, there is something there's I'll put it this way. There's a bit of a PR crisis
Mm.
at the headquarters of Jillybox.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
What's the secret item? Is it a gentle forehead kiss from Elon Musk? I wouldn't like that.
No, it's nothing controversial in ideology or anything
Okay.
like that. I'm like desperate to tell you, but you don't want to know.
I don't want to know because I'm going to be so excited when I find
I'm
out.
scared to open the box.
Is it spiders?
Do you want to know or do you
No, I don't. I
not?
don't want to know, but I hope it's spiders.
Well, let's just say you're not far off. So
That's exciting.
that's all
It's
I'll
like when
say. That's
Parisa
all
was
I'll say.
looking for giant
Yes.
tarantulas at the Bachelor Mansion.
Parisa may really love this box.
I love
I
that.
don't love that Parisa's gone. I'm very upset about it. I do not
Yes.
get it.
No.
Who do I root for now?
No,
Zoe, I
there's no
guess.
one. Yeah, I guess Zoe. Like, what
I
do you do?
guess. Yeah.
It's so this whole episode too, and God, you do a podcast like this long enough, you watch this show long enough, and you think at some point someone's going to learn a lesson here. No one ever learns a lesson, and then we have the same annoying conflict just kind of repeating itself. And in
Yeah.
this instance, we have a bachelor who just has tumbleweeds where his brain should be, and he can't like cut through the BS. It's terrible.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So lots of things. So first of all, I got to look and see. I think we're on season 19.
Mm-hmm.
Us.
Us, yes.
That's wild. Okay. Anyway, so we
Mm-hmm.
have been doing this for a long time. We've both been watching it for longer than that, much longer than
Yes.
that.
Yes.
But I just need to, if you're new to this is season 19 of our podcast. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, podcast. Could I sound more?
Podcast, yeah.
It's
And
season
we're
19.
Midwestern, in case you didn't know.
Oh my gosh. I just got a Costco delivery for the first time.
Oh.
And Tuck was like, "You are being an Appleton mom right now."
Oh
Because
my
I was
God.
walking around and I was like, "Listen, I get these vitamins and they're usually like 120 pack, but when I get them from Costco, it's 180 pack, and that's value. It's the same container and
Wow.
everything." And then I was like, "And look at this. Okay, I
Can
hope
you get a
I
rotisserie chicken with that? I love the rotisserie
I
chicken.
hope I just got a shipment, so you can't get
Okay.
like, like
They can't
it's all
mail you a
shelf
rotisserie
stable
chicken.
items.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and also I ordered LaCroix and like half of them burst because it was so cold up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So that was an issue, but my mom's like, "Well, you gotta call them because they got great customer service."
they
I was
do.
like, "Okay." Oh, I also have a mom update, but anyway, we'll get there. So and then I was like, "Oh, and also, I like tahini." So I got two
Oh God, giant
18-ounce
tahines.
bottles of tahini. So if anybody wants a second 18-ounce bottle of tahini,
There's so much tahini.
it's way too much, but I was like, I have to do it for the novelty of it. This is so cool.
It's amazing.
But anyway, yeah, I got all that stuff and he was like, you're being like such an Appleton mom. But anyway, this is season 19 of our podcast. We've been around a long time. And I finally also did some live posts on Blue Sky. So if you're on Blue Sky, you can find us at Pop Culture Diner over there as well. And yeah, I just hear the things that I keep talking about, like why don't people understand that there are no rules in this show? There's no rules in this show. And also, like, yeah, what is the drama exactly? It just seems like
It's
nobody knew to talk to each other and they're just like not having normal conversations, and this could
no.
all be sorted out with like a 5-minute clearing the air, but instead
It's
it has to be drama. And I don't get it. I'm like, was
no.
you were like,
Makes
"Is there
no
anything
sense.
juicy?" And I was like, "Well, I'm frustrated."
Yeah,
That's all I could
juicy
say
or
about it.
just annoying? That's the
Yeah, juicy or
question.
just the worst.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so this is a tale as old as time, which is someone on the show realizes that, like, the artifice of the whole thing is kinda wild, and because
Yes.
there's nothing to do other than to talk to people, and you have very little in terms of external stimuli, all you can talk about is what you are in, and what you are in
Mhm.
is this contrived television show where you're trying to get your husband. And at some point, you have a self-aware moment where you go, "Man, it is wild that I've been on this show for like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and in another 3 weeks, I could be engaged. And, wow,
That's
I
very
like this guy.
strange. Yeah.
That's wild, man." Like, even if you weren't also dating this dude with a dozen other women right now, and you were just spending every single day with him for 5 weeks to determine if this is the person you want to be your husband, that would
Mhm.
still be kinda wild, wouldn't it? Like, "Whoa,
Yes.
5 weeks to marriage? Like, yikes."
That's very
And
fast. Yes.
having that realization, and then, basically, it's like the sharks start circling, right? They smell blood in the
Mhm.
water. You're chumming the water because immediately someone in the house is like, "Wow, sounds like you're not really committed to Grant, and considering you've had so much more one-on-one time with him than we've had, it's just I cannot believe that you'd be so ungrateful and that you would say something. Do you even wanna marry him? Are you here for the right reasons? Shut up!"
Yes.
Ah,
It's just weird. It's just I'm like, can we just skip past the part that like we know how the show works? Like,
yeah.
and can't doesn't everyone know how the show works by now? It's like when you first watched like I don't know, like Punked or something like that. Or you know what I mean?
Mhm,
Like a show where it's like people didn't know that this kind of thing was happening, and then after a few years it becomes more obvious, like,
mhm.
what's that one? The Carbonaro effect or whatever.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it's like, or whatever, or like Jamie Kennedy, you know what I mean? It's like, then you can't do it after a while because you're recognizable and it doesn't work as well because people see you and they know who you are. And then the show doesn't work the same, right? But this is different. Like, it helps if you know how the show works, because then you can work to make the show more interesting to us, and you can go get time, and you can go, schmooze producers, and you can do the
Mhm.
things that you need. But for some reason on this season, all the women are like, there are rules and you have to follow the rules. And if you don't follow the rules, you're a bad person. And I'm like, this is a show.
Yeah.
This is a show. And nobody is even breaking the rules in a way that's like that egregious either.
No,
Like,
no.
people have done so many like weirder things, and a lot of the times they're like coaxed by producers. Like, oh my gosh, I always forget his name. R-rated or whatever, that wrestler.
Mhm.
Like, he like crutched over. Was that Allie's season? I think it was Allie's season.
Think it might have been,
He like
yeah.
crutched over to her hotel or whatever, and he's like, yeah,
Mhm.
they did like put me in a car and then put me out. And then but it looked like I took my crutches the whole way there, right? But
Mhm,
the
mhm.
producers were in on it because they're like, yeah, that's going to be funny.
Of course,
That's
yeah.
going to be funny and interesting. And so you can do stuff like that. And sure, some people do things that are like completely unexpected, like jump fences or whatever. And everyone's like, I know, like, we
Mhm.
legitimately had no idea that would happen. We were scared. But for the most part, all of the shocking things are kind of contrived or,
Yeah.
whatever, or medical emergencies, which are not funny. Um, but yeah, like I don't get why everybody's getting mad about this. And also it also totally makes sense that Carolina would feel weird because she's just talking about normal things that are happening. And
Yeah.
even though it's like, yeah, I get it. I feel like if I was on a show like that, even though I knew that's how it works, it would still like hit me weird. So I don't even
Mhm.
think like the complaints weren't bad. And if I was Grant, I wouldn't be upset about her complaining about that because I'd be like, yeah, this is weird.
Oh my
So
gosh, and the whole
that part I have
trajectory
no
of the thing,
problem with. Yeah.
it's like, okay, yes, it's weird. And let's
Mhm.
say that, of course it is, but because it's The Bachelor, and we know that when this happens, like you're not supposed to say these things out loud, even though it is an obvious truth, even though you're
Yeah.
stating something that is very clear to anyone who watches the show and it should be to anyone who's on the show. Okay, let's throw that all out the window. The thing that drove me nuts, like I was just like pulling my hair out of my head, was eh, eh, Juliana is the catalyst for all
Mhm.
of this garbage. So, yeah, Carolina says, "This is man, this is how I feel." Like it's just like a throwaway
Yeah,
whatever
she's like, "This
comment.
is just weird and it's kind of upsetting and it's kinda
Yeah.
strange," and it's like, "Yeah, it is.
And then
It
Juliana
is."
jumps down her throat, takes her aside, and tells her, like, "Oh, you're the worst because of X, Y, and Z," escalates the whole thing
Mhm.
to the point where she's just like, "You suck," and it makes her cry, even though she's holding it in pretty well, all things
Yeah.
considered. It's emotional. And then Grant comes out and she's holding it together. It's not like she's sobbing or just be like, "Grant, ah."
Mhm.
None of that. And then Grant just noticed that, she had been crying.
Looks
It's
visibly
obvious.
upset. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Well, I'm going to hold on to this rose." And then Juliana's like, "I can't believe you cried when I made you cry, when I attacked you for
Yes,
being a
exactly.
human."
Okay, I'm glad we're
What?
on the same page because I was like, I really don't think anything Carolina did was, like, bad or wrong or weird. Um,
No.
I think it's totally normal to feel that way, and yeah, like, you don't say it out loud because it's the show or whatever, but,
Mhm.
like, I think it's fine to act that way, and I don't think she complained about anything in
No.
a way that's unreasonable, and she didn't, like, drag anybody else into her stuff either. I think it's very clear that she's speaking from her own insecurities, and I
Yeah.
thought that was obvious from the beginning. I didn't blame so I'm just like, why is everyone trying to make Carolina a problem? It's just weird. I don't know. It doesn't I think it's just because she's doing well.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, so I'm just glad we're on the same page. Before we move into the rest of the episode, okay, I have an update from my mom.
Mhm.
She fact
Okay.
checked our episode
Gotcha.
when I talked about being lost in the mall. So for
Yes.
those of you who didn't watch or listen last week, I talked about being lost in the mall and
Getting
having
fact
an
checked by
appendectomy.
Sammy's mom.
She It was funny because I called her about a completely different topic and she goes, "So I've been listening to your podcast and I wanted to offer some feedback about what I heard." And I said, and then
Oh.
I started launching into the appendectomy story and she goes, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And I'm like, "The appendectomy." She goes, "Oh, I was talking about the lost in a mall thing. I didn't get to that part yet." I was like, "Oh, I have two stories for you to fact check." And she's like, "I will fact check both of them." So I was like, I talked about being lost in the mall and like I think they had me go into like the little security booth with the cameras and whatever, and I got a balloon. She goes, "That all sounds very similar to what I remember. I think
Mhm.
you're pretty much right on." She goes, "I don't think I cared about like looking bad. I think I was just panicking." I'm like, "Well, whatever. That was like inference."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, I was like, "My mom is lost in a mall," that was more my mentality. Like, I wasn't scared. I wasn't scared. I was just like, "Where is she? What the hell?" And
Mhm.
my mom was like, "Oh my god, this is the worst thing to happen." And she's like, "And when I found you, you were totally chill and like, hi, what's up? Hi, mom. What's going on?" So she was like, "That was true." And then the appendectomy, I talked about how I hallucinated that my grandparents came because morphine.
Mhm.
But also that I told off my ex boyfriend, and I did believe that was real. And she goes, "Yes, that." I was like, "That did happen." She goes, "Yes, I believe that happened. That sounds right. That sounds like what I remember. You were very upset. You were very upset when you found out what he was telling people. You did not, yeah, you didn't take that well." I was like, "Okay, cool." So I'm really proud
Huh.
of myself that on morphine, I called his home phone and told him off. And that is real and that
Good
did
for
happen.
you.
So just
We're proud of
just
you.
so now the fact check is over. If I say anything else about my childhood that she needs to fact check, I will regroup in following weeks like that. But I couldn't believe it. I was like instant feedback. She was like, "Yes, so I've been listening, and yes, those are true. Those are true things." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'm not lying to our
Amazing.
audience. Thank you."
Shout out Sammy's mom.
So, yeah, so I came in 2 minutes into the episode, and that's when Carolina started to become the new victim
Mhm.
and, or the new villain, sorry, not victim, the new villain. And then they're like, "Okay, well, she's a victim because they made her the villain." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
now they're going to Madrid. And I keep forgetting Natalie's still here. I literally forget she exists, and then she pops up, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, Natalie's here." Anyway, so we know where some of the budget is going to, and it's to songs that we recognize. So that's where some of the budget is going to because they play a Cardi B song, and I'm like, that cannot be affordable.
No.
Why are you spending your money on this anyway?
It's
Um,
the only thing they've spent
yeah,
money on this season.
that's what I'm saying. But we get there. Okay, we get to Spain, and I'm like, is Jesse secretly trilingual? But he is not,
Mm-mm.
unfortunately. I was excited. He says a couple words in Spanish, but he is not trilingual.
No. His
Can't be perfect, Jesse.
Espanol is what I would describe as, CSC.
Good job, good
Thank
job.
you, thank you.
Oh, yeah, muy bien hecho. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, so they play soccer, of course, and then his first date is with Dina, and they kinda do, like, a shopping-ish date and whatever,
Mhm.
and they go to the Store of Wishes, and there's, like, lots of, positive energy there, and, did she say there's more than 10,000 wishes there or something like that? I put
Something, yeah.
10K on it, yeah. So anyway, they have like this date and then I don't know. I thought this date was kind of a snooze, I'm gonna be honest. But they're having a conversation and Grant's like, I'm so excited to be part of a 50-50 relationship. And I just want to know what you think about that. After our conversation last week, do you think would be a 50-50 relationship?
No, no. Are you kidding me? Like, this would be the worst relationship ever. Like, there's no way Grant, I don't know how his brain works. Like, he is hyper fixated on this idea as like, I need a wife, I want kids, but like he wants the things, but he doesn't think about the the workings. Like, how do you make that successful? It's like
Yeah.
it's like someone who buys a horse, but they don't have a stable. They just like they live in a city. And now you got a
They just
horse
buy a
taking
horse
a
in the
shit
city.
in your guest room because you wanted a horse. He's not thinking about anything. And so he sits down with this woman who is a successful lawyer in
Mhm.
Chicago. She has her own life, her own income. She is her own person. And he's a day trader who can just fart around and be anywhere. And I think for the first time in his life, I I think he feels intimidated by her, right?
Yeah,
Like
I mean, that's the only thing I can think, but it's like, I don't know. Like, listen, Grant, the only reason I'm saying this is because I literally have no idea what your actual job is or if it's exactly what we think it is, and if it is, then what I'm
yeah.
saying is accurate, sorry.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, if he marries her and knocks her up, guess who's staying home with the kid? It ain't her. Get ready
yeah,
to change
that's true.
some diapers,
You know,
Grant.
but maybe he wants to be a Mr. Mom. I don't know. I feel
Oh,
like
dream job. I would
I
love to
think
be a
he would
house
love
husband.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think he would love to be a house husband. I think that would actually he would thrive in that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, like, secretly what he wants, but
Mhm.
he's, like, trying to make it seem like that's not what like, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But the conversation they were having, to me, felt like he was like, "This would be 50-50, right? Right?
Mhm.
Right? Because
Yep.
you consider us to be the same." And it's I'm like, I just maybe you're great at what you do. And
Mhm.
maybe and but for some reason you have no internet footprint about you being great and maybe just like to fly under the radar. What do they
Maybe.
say like money shouts, wealth whispers or whatever?
Mhm, mhm.
Maybe he's just whispering it and I'm just not picking up on it. Can't hear it. My hearing's not so great after all those concerts. Like,
He's
I don't know. I'm not sure.
possibly. Yeah.
That's the
Increase
most
your
generous
volume if you're whispering, Grant.
that's the most generous way I can put it. But when he said 50-50, I literally it was like a record scratch in my brain. I
Yeah.
was like,
No,
what?
no. Don't think so.
No, no, no." Anyway, so oh yeah, was it last week? I don't think it was this week. Was it last week when he did that? when he was like, "Eat, back it up."
Oh, yeah.
Because Tug was listening downstairs when that happened, and then we both kept going, or anyway. Um, so yeah, so the date went well, whatever. They seemed to be enjoying it. And then the women are talking about going and playing by the rules and everything. And I was just like, what rules? I don't care.
Mhm.
Um, and then they find out about the group date, and it was like, love is a wild ride. And we find out by process of elimination that Serafina gets the one-on-one, and
Mhm.
Zoe's really bummed. She does not enjoy it. But hey, she gets to go ride on a donkey with all the other women. So that's what she gets to go do.
It's not too
And
bad. Who doesn't like
yeah.
riding a donkey?
Well, Zoe didn't like riding the donkey.
Well.
I think she was like, this is so relaxing and calm, and I love it. And this is great. And Parisa's like into whatever. Like, that's why you need her around on these episodes, because she's just
Mhm.
like, yeah, let's go hang out with donkeys. I love it. This is like exactly what I want to do. And Zoe's like, I hate every minute of this. But then, of course, we get to see a matador because we're in Madrid. So if you go to Madrid and you don't see a matador, did you even really go to Madrid? I
No,
don't.
of course not.
I've been there twice and I have not seen one. So maybe I haven't been there at all. I don't know. Have you ever seen a bullfight? By the way,
No, it doesn't really interest me. It seems kinda sad. So,
it's really sad.
I
I had
I
to
probably wouldn't go to that. I
I
don't.
didn't see it in person, like, I haven't seen it live. I don't think they do it the way they used to do it in as many places. Maybe they still
Mhm.
do, but I did watch a video in, like, Spanish class. She was like, "I want you to see," because she was from Spain, her whole family was from Spain. She was like, "I want you to see what this is, because I
Mhm.
want you to know what it is." And I was like, "Wow, this is sad." I didn't realize it ended like that. That's a
Yeah.
bummer. But they don't do that, and because I was like, what if they're like, we're gonna have you, but no bulls were harmed in the making of this segment. Also, the matador who's presenting got a pink robe or whatever, cape, and I was like, that's pretty cool. I want a pink one. But they kind of like pretended to bullfight with like this thing on like wheels, and then they're like, now we're gonna pretend like you're at a country bar in the United States and you're gonna ride a bull and see how
Mhm.
long you stay on. Again, kind of a low budget date.
Oh, and it gets called out. Like, they put on these little matador
Yeah.
outfits, and I think it's, like, Rose or somebody who's just like, "Is the Bachelor okay? Or do we did they cut our budget?" Like, she's
Did she say that? I
joking.
missed
Yeah.
that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And
I gotta watch that back.
it's
So she picked
yeah.
up on it as well. She picked up
Yeah.
on what we've been putting down.
Yeah, and then she's like, "Well, Grant looks a little better."
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
that's fun.
so interesting. That's so interesting. I missed that. But I just well, anyway, we'll talk about Rose later. Okay. So, yeah, so they do this thing, whatever. Okay. The person who does have the best technique was Alex, cuz she invented a strategy. And she was like, I'm just going to lay as low to this bull as I can. I'm from a farm. And and you're like, yes, that's a good strategy. But again, Zoe is not doing anything against the rules. She's like, I see your strategy and I raise you doing the same thing because I want to win.
Mhm.
That's called being smart. And
Yeah,
Alex is like, the rules. And she
yeah.
stole my
She did
thing.
what I did. Are you 4? Are you in, like, pre-K class and you're upset because someone's copying you?
Yeah.
Shut up. Shut
Yeah.
up.
This is literally how reality television
Yeah,
works.
you're just a bunch
Hello.
of babies.
Anyway,
Ugh.
so annoying. So, yeah, so Zoe, and Zoe apparently was part of the boys wrestling team.
Mhm.
Is there anything she can't do?
No.
Well, be super, strategic.
No,
That's one
she
thing she
can't do
can't
that. She
do,
can't do
yeah.
that. Yeah, they're like, "She's on the boys
Um,
wrestling." It's like, what wrestling move is this? She just grabs the bull and hugs it and then just holds on for dear life. Sure. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So wait, did she win or did Alex win? I didn't write that
Oh,
down.
she
She
won.
won,
She won.
yeah,
She
okay.
lasted, like, forever,
Yeah,
basically.
because there are no rules. Okay, and
Yeah.
then that's the thing. Um, okay, this is something else that makes me really sad because I
Mhm.
really thought Prisa was gonna stick around longer because Grant brought her some rocks.
Yeah.
And I was like, "He brought her rocks, that's so cute." That's like penguin love.
Mhm.
That's literally what penguins
Literally what
do.
penguins do, yeah.
That's literally Okay, we talked about penguin girls. That's literally
Yeah.
what penguins do. Okay, I dreamed a
Grant's a
penguin
penguin
imprinted on
boy.
me. Yeah. Yeah, Natalie. Okay,
Grant
see?
imprinted on me.
Yeah. Natalie's like, "Oh, I wish he imprinted on me." What the hell? Yeah, so I was like, "This is so cute. He's giving Parisa rocks." And she's like, "Oh my god, he listened to me talk about rocks and he brought me rocks, so that's so cool." And I was like, "That's so nice. Good job, Grant." And so I thought that was gonna go well for her, but, we know it doesn't.
Mhm.
Foreshadowing. So then, okay, so Rose is talking about like stressing out on this date for some
Yeah.
reason. And she's like, but I'm trying to still have a good day. And oh, and she's like, and I'm still on thin ice with Grant, which again, okay, Rose, it wasn't your fault. This whole thing is BS. Okay.
Yeah. What's gonna happen when we get to, like, the women tell all or whatever, and then they play the clip of Grant saying the thing that she could have, like, easily misinterpreted? Like, the whole thing is just silly right now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like, I don't think like, he overreacted to what
Mhm.
you said and you categorized it and not like, it's not, like, ridiculous that you
No.
phrased it that way, that
No,
you
this is like
interpreted it that way.
like one of those weird, like, hoity-toity, bougie British comedies. Like, this is like a
Mhm.
manners comedy, and everyone's just like, "Oh, no, I misinterpreted something, oh."
Oh, all these horrible
Yeah,
misunderstandings.
that's the
Yeah.
whole thing. It's
Yeah,
so
it's totally
lame.
like that. It's so
Can
unfortunate.
someone be mean? Like,
Yeah.
actually
Like,
mean about something worth being
n
mean about?
nobody on the season is a villain. 0
No,
people, and so they're
just
like, "You're gonna be
annoying.
the villain. No, you're gonna be the villain. No, you're," and I'm like, None of you are villains. You're,"
Yeah.
and this is, and I was trying to explain this. I was like, there's always a character to the house. There's always like a vibe to each house, and they're like a little different. Like, my all-time favorite Katie season had the bromance house, one of the best houses we ever got with some of the best guys, and they were all crying and bonding, and it was lovely.
Mhm.
Then we have the houses like Courtney's house, where she's like, "This was the drunkest house ever." And so we got a lot of weird tension and fighting, but it was interesting. And looking back, Courtney wasn't a great villain, but they did a good job making her look like the villain.
Mhm.
And then you've got like the houses where like everybody's joking around and it's like everybody's so funny. Like, have you noticed we haven't gotten a single blooper?
No.
No,
None.
I mean, at least not in the last week or two. We haven't gotten a
Mm-mm.
blooper. I'm like, where are bloopers? That's because nobody's laughing in this house. Everybody's crying.
No. But
And
over
it's just,
nothing. It's just
yeah,
just like idle sobbing.
yeah. It's like you got the houses where like everybody's hanging out and cooking. It's like, yeah, you saw them make breakfast together,
Ugh,
but then they're crying at the pool. Like, it's not
yeah.
good. Like,
No. Grant,
come
you'd have
on,
better luck
have
just impregnating
fun.
a wet blanket. Like, this is not a good time, buddy.
I don't like what you just. No, thank you. I'll pass.
It's just
Opt
all
out.
these
Opt
people are
out.
just like, "Bleh,"
I really don't like the visual
of
that
a
it
man
formed in my
impregnating a
head.
wet
I
blanket.
don't like it. I don't like it. Oh, today I just had this conversation today with a client because I was like trying to describe, I'm like working on a logo, okay, and I'm
Mhm.
like working on a sign. And I'm the kind of person who was like, okay, don't worry about all of everything together. Like, if there's a part you like, we can
Mhm.
put it with the other part, right? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like that font, you like that, whatever, that image, we can put it together. If you want it stacked horizontal, we can do that. So it doesn't have to be exactly the way. I just need to know from you what elements you like to make it. And then he goes to me, Sammy, I can't picture things in my brain. And I
Mhm.
went, I forgot people exist who can't picture things in their brain.
Yeah, that always weirds me out. I'm like,
I
what
I,
does your
I get
brain do if it's not picturing things? What do you
and I was like, "Wait, do you have an inner monologue?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Okay, but you can't picture things in your brain." He's like, "No." And I'm like, I understand why we had all the conversations that we've had over the last week. Because I was like,
Mhm.
I don't get why we can't. And then I was like, I get why you're frustrated and confused, and why I'm frustrated because our brains work differently. But when somebody says something like what you said, my brain immediately pictures it and I
Mhm.
can't stop it. It's like the excessive version of it. So, anyway, that's just a reminder that and maybe if you're listening or watching, tell us, are you someone who can picture things in your brain or you can't? But I like forgot that that's a thing that I need to cater to with clients. And
Mhm.
it was a good reminder today. Have you run
That was a
into
good
that with
reminder.
like branding and stuff. I like
I
literally didn't even think of it until today,
I
which is
never
bad.
have, but if I did, that would be the horrifying realization for me because
I was like,
I don't take that into consideration ever. I probably
I
should.
know. I felt really bad. And I take, like my husband's colorblind. I take that into consideration, like when I'm thinking
Mhm,
about how something looks and how high contrast it is, whatever. And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm telling you to imagine something. And you're like, I can't. And I'm
mhm.
like, oh, I'm a jerk. But that's okay. Anyway, so if you can picture things, I apologize for what Steve said. Because if you pictured it the way I did, it was probably really gross.
Why you got such
Anyway,
a sicko mind,
I
Sammy?
can't help I literally can't help it. Like, I was like, if you tell me to imagine a brain polka dotted, purple, tap dancing with, like, a cane
Mhm,
and a top hat, I'm immediately imagining it. That's the
mhm,
problem.
mhm.
Yeah, so now that's in your brain. Okay.
It's not
So,
bad.
no, it's not bad, but it's just I did it. Okay, so yeah, so Rose, whatever, I feel bad that she's even stressing out, but I still feel like there's something bigger that happened, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Um, this is like the part where Zoe gets upset, right? I think.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I just said, can we stop giving Zoe shit? Because she's just a person with no weird, manipulative, ulterior motive. Like, people are acting like Zoe's an evil genius. And
Yeah,
she's like, I just literally don't feel like I'm doing well, or
right?
whatever. Like, she just was feeling really insecure on this date and she was like upset. And I just don't, sh- nothing about anything she's done has grabbed me as something where it's like, oh yeah, Zoe, she's a problem.
Yeah, it's
And I just
no.
felt like this episode really kind of sold me on that. Like, you can't tell me that you think Zoe is this, like, you know, like master manipulator or anything like that. I think she's like
No.
just a lady. She's just a
She's
lady.
just a lady. She's just
Mhm.
really pretty and I don't know, doesn't know how to play this game at all. That's I mean, that's a description you could use for most of the women that have been on this season. Like it's the idea that someone on this season would be some great evil mastermind is hilarious to me. And I'm not saying that like these women are stupid, far from it, but they're not like that's not the way their brains work. They're not like conniving people on the show Traitors or something. Like it's not Boston Rob in the Bachelor house.
Yeah, it's just like really strange that
Mhm.
people are, first of all, characterizing her as a villain,
Yeah.
or Carolina as a villain. And then you
Yeah.
just see her, like, I don't know, just be like a normal person who's upset about things
Yeah. I mean,
and
what
just
the
like
best
and
you could say is this
vulnerable.
person annoys me for unspecified reasons.
Yeah,
Like,
like, okay, she rubs you the wrong way. She's like not your cup of tea. Okay,
mhm.
fine.
There is a
But to be like
difference.
she's a villain.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a difference. There's a difference between this person is a villain and this person is just someone I don't like. Those are totally
right.
separate things.
Yes. Like, yeah, why are people getting mad at Zoe? It just doesn't make
Don't get
sense
it. Don't get it.
at all.
Zoe Defense Force, unite.
Yes, yes. We like you, Zoe. We don't really understand the hate at all.
Mm-mm.
It's just
Don't
like
get it. I don't get
so
it.
confusing. Yeah, but other people are also like siding with her, which is good. But I feel like there are people, quite a few people on the internet who are like, "Yeah, see, I told you she was like not cool and she
Mhm.
was a problem. She was going to be a problem." I'm like, "I just think you don't like women." I don't know. That's the only thing that I can think of. Yeah, and then yeah, I this is when Carolina was getting upset and I just said she's a realistic complainer and women
Mhm.
like Juliana don't like it. And this is where I totally got lost and then I just started posting memes on Blue Sky
Yeah.
where I was like, I really don't understand the drama. I did like that lady, with all the math around her head. And then I
Mhm.
did you're going to look at me and you're going to tell me I'm wrong. Like,
I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah,
like,
some
I'm
of the stuff
like,
that's
there's
going on
just
with this
no way.
season, and I've seen TikToks, I've seen tweets, I've seen all kinds of social media stuff, and I'm just like, are we watching the same show? What are we
I
doing here?
really like, I know sometimes, like, when you watch, like the secret lives of Mormon wives. Well, I feel like most people are kind of on the same page there. But like different Real Housewife seasons, people will kind of like pick their pet housewife and like be
Mhm.
like, that's my favorite, and they can do no
Yeah.
wrong. But even then they still admit like, yeah, they're a shitty person, but I think
Oh
they're
god, yeah, because they all
funny.
are.
Yeah. Or whatever,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But like on this show, it's like, how can you this does not feel like one of those things where it's like it could be two faces or it could be a vase. It's like
Mhm.
it's just a vase. How are you seeing two faces in this? And they're like, "Well, she's being two-faced. I don't like it." I'm like, okay." Anyway, so I don't have much to say about it, honestly. It's just very confusing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Serafina's date because we get another thrill date. You know what? I already was comparing his season to Ben Flajnik's in my head, and
Mhm.
now it's only getting worse. So, just saying, because Courtney was like, "Why did he wanna do all the thrill dates?" And now
I
I'm like, reminiscent of Ben. This feels like Ben's season again, so
although
it's
it's
interesting.
odd because I mean, this is like the second time in 3 weeks that they've gone bungee jumping, and the first time he was just like, "Yeah, sure," and the second time he's like, "I don't like it anymore." Like, what?
Well, it's different. I
Yeah,
would say
now it's
those 2
raining.
Well, no, I would say those 2 activities are very different. Cause like,
Mhm.
I don't think I would do the second one, but I would definitely do the first one 'cause it's been on my list and I've wanted to do it. Cause in that one, you're standing up and you just
Yeah,
go straight
just
down.
kinda go
You're
straight
not
down.
upside down, you're not hanging by your legs, and you're not swinging really. You're just kinda
Mhm.
staying stationary and you start up and you go down and maybe you swing a little bit. Okay, no big
Mhm.
deal. This one, yeah, it's raining. That does make it scarier for some reason. But then you're jumping off a bridge and you're hanging by your feet. And then
Mhm.
you do have quite a bit of an arc. So that to me is different. You don't think that's different?
No, I mean, I
You're
it's
like jumping's jumping, Sammy.
jumping's jumping, yeah, what
Jumping's
do you
jumping.
but I mean, like, at their core, the
Mhm.
essence of the date is very similar. And now I'm
Yes.
like, "Okay, so our budget has been slashed, but did we also slash the creative budget? Like, we can't do anything, we're just jumping off of shit."
Yeah, I don't know. Some kind of layoff really made shit bad,
Mhm,
I think.
mhm.
I don't know. And then when the tariffs come in, it's gonna get even worse. It's gonna get even worse. But then okay, so they go to dinner and like Serafina doesn't want to kiss Grant because again, another person who doesn't know how the show works. But she's like, "Well, my mom's watching."
Shut up, you're gonna, like somebody, like,
Whatever,
banged a dude
nerd.
in a windmill 3 times and talked about it, like,
Well, that's
sorry.
Hannah.
Yeah.
Hannah's a little different.
With her accent, "We banged in a windmill
4 times.
4 times."
Yeah, so it's a little different from
Mhm,
that. But yeah, I was like, she's getting like, yeah, she got a thrill date and then dinner. Anyway, this was another thing that was interesting. They had a fine enough conversation. She was kind of talking about like feeling let down, not wanting to get married because she didn't have a dad to walk her down the aisle, and that was very upsetting to her. And Grant's like, well, I can relate with the stuff with my dad and whatever.
mhm.
So they had a very good connecting moment. This was the part that I thought was weird, is when Grant was like, Serafina's been a slow burn. I'm like, we're in week 4. A slow burn?
Yeah, we can't yeah,
I mean,
no.
this is your first one-on-one with her. Like, I don't know. Like, usually you hear slow burn after you've done like 3 one-on-ones and then they finally open up and you're in like, it's like right before hometowns or during hometowns. Like,
Mhm.
that's when you call it a slow burn. I
Yeah,
was
th
very
it's not a
confused
slow
by
burn
that.
if this is, like, the first time you talk to someone. What do
Right.
you
Yeah, he's like, "Serafina's been kind of a slow burn, but I'm really excited to see where it goes." And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
literally makes no
I
sense.
do not know what that like, this whole season makes no sense to me.
It's so weird. It's
Yeah.
so weird.
The only thing that I've liked so far is Grant making up a song. That's the
Mhm.
thing I've liked so much so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, okay, now you hear things about Juliana's side about the Carolina stuff, and I just wrote in my notes, I'm so bored. This can be a short episode, I think, because I don't have a lot to talk about.
Nothing
Um,
to say.
yeah, and this whole thing, like, yeah, questioning it, being stressed, like this all feels very normal human behavior to me. And
Yeah.
then here was a weird thing though. This is one thing I'll say to Carolina. This is one thing against her. I like Carolina, but
Mhm.
she was like crying about the whole Juliana thing. But then she like apologized to Dina, kind of. Did you notice that?
Yeah, that was
And,
weird.
like, she's crying and Dina's crying. And
And
she's like,
Dina's like, "I see myself in you." It was, like, very maternal.
she's like, "I get it, I relate," and they're both crying, and I was like, "This is," but again, this is what I'm saying. I just think the bowel movements are not happening. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Everybody
There's
needs to
something
poop
going on.
and, like, sleep.
Eat protein. I don't know what. Like, everybody's
Yeah.
weepy. Everybody's like, I've been that tired. I think it is tired. I don't know
Mhm.
if it's tummy. I think it's tired because I've been that tired where I'm just like, well, even yesterday I was pretty tired and I said to Chuck, I was like, I've got this from this time to this time, and then this from this time to this time, and then I have a scheduled cry between 6 and 7. Because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just so tired. I just want to cry about it. And then luckily a meeting got canceled. And then I completely switched gears. So apparently it was
Mhm.
just I didn't want to go to a meeting. But yeah, it was this whole part was so strange. And then oh, oh yeah. And then yeah, I wrote down this is one of those frustrating books where you're just like, just talk to each other.
Mhm.
You could save 200 pages. And then Rose, out of nowhere, starts hyperventilating.
Yeah, just lost it. Well, because there's all this stuff with her, and then she's like, "Also, Carolina hurt me." And what? She didn't even say hurt me. She said, "You did me
Yes, yes,
dirty."
yes. That was so weird.
It was
That was
so weird.
so weird,
And
and she
again,
was, like,
heightened
really upset about it.
emotions.
I forgot about that she said, "You did me dirty." I was so confused by the whole thing. I'm, like, trying to find an article about this stuff right now. So, yeah, because so basically, Rose gets upset. There's no indication that she was on the chopping block. Now,
Mm-mm.
Grant was being
None.
weird about Rose anyway, because he was basically like, "Well, she's gotta do some catching up," and I'm like, "Does she? Does
I
she? I
don't
don't
know.
feel like she did anything." But her being upset about it to this degree is also so strange
Mhm.
because anyway, she's the one who said it. Anyway, whatever. Um, but so she like left. She was like, I feel like I have to go.
Mhm.
And the whole thing just seems weird to me. I have like conspiratorial thoughts about it. I'm going to be really honest about. I'm just like, which producer did she, you know,
Mhm.
spend
Mhm.
extra time with?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Seems like a
It's odd.
hasty exit. Seems I don't know. It wasn't appendicitis. We know that. That
We
already
know it wasn't
happened.
appendicitis. No,
Sorry,
she was just like,
Beverly.
"I've been here for 5 days. I don't like this anymore." Okay.
By the way, I really hope Beverly gets on Paradise.
Yeah.
Well, whenever that
I think
happens.
she will. Yeah.
I hope she gets redemption because first of all, I just called her the pretty lady because I forgot her name. I was like, "Wow, she's so pretty," and
She's
then I
the
was like,
pretty lady.
"She's like the prettiest one," and then I was like, "Oh, that's Beverly. Okay, Beverly, Beverly." And then I finally was like, "Beverly, pretty one," and then it's like Beverly's gone, and I was like, "But I just remembered her name was Beverly."
But now I know who
I
she
finally
is.
remembered all the names of all the people on the show, and now one of the names I remember is gone. I was so mad. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, it just the whole thing seemed weird.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm reading a Cosmo article about it. Okay. So yeah, they're like, in case you missed it, Grant told Rose he was thinking of her when he danced with Carolina during week three's group date, and she shared that detail with Carolina, who ended up confronting the Bachelor himself. Rose
Mhm.
then told Carolina she felt fucked and backstabbed by her big time because she thought she could confide in her, which then that means you said it, I guess, or
Yeah.
well, not exactly. You didn't exactly say it right.
Yeah.
She then quit the show on the spot, telling cameras, I feel like I pushed so hard. I just feel like I'm at a point where I'm shattering. She let Grant know about her departure before the rose ceremony, where he told the rest of the contestants he was hurt by her decision, but understand why she stepped away. And she said, yeah, I've been fighting myself for a long time, fighting to stay and fighting through my own emotions. Everything that happened with Carolina invalidated so much of my relationship that was good. This is definitely a tipping point for me.
Oh god, come on. Come on,
Yeah, it's
lady.
just so strange. Oh, grocery store Joe weighed in on it.
Oh, good.
in this. We're waiting for the voice of grocery store Joe.
He's like one of those sportscasters who used to play like quarterback for an NFL team, and now he's just popping in to offer his 2 cents on everything.
Hey, Tony Romo, we love it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, most excited sportscaster, the only one I like listening to at this point. Okay. So, yeah, so he said the Rose Carolina misunderstanding has been a little strange. They're both likable. I feel for Rose in this situation because she's so upset and I think she made a mistake. I just don't know why she shared the information to Carolina. Of course, if Carolina hears that, she's going to want to confront Grant. I just feel like Rose slipped up, and unfortunately, when you do that in Bachelor world, there's just not a lot of time.
Mm.
I
Mm.
don't know if Grant actually said it or not, and I don't think it really matters.
That
I
doesn't
just
matter.
I just don't think she should have told Carolina, because that is where the problem is. In my opinion, even if Grant did say it, I think you would be better off keeping that information to yourself, because all that would do is potentially hurt your chances by letting someone else know. I feel
Yep.
like Joe just said a lot of like something that could have been said in one sentence in lots of sentences.
Yeah, he did. What it boils down to, like, standard issue Bachelor knowledge slash logic, which is when in doubt, shut the fuck up. Stop talking. And this is the
Yeah.
problem that they're getting into. Like, of course she shouldn't have said that, but because they're isolated and they're bored, she said it. And then you've got someone like Carolina, who I think she's the type of person who just naturally just kind of thinks out loud. And she was
Mhm.
just brain dumping because there's nothing else to do except
Yeah.
embarrass yourself. But if I was there, I would keep all my dumb thoughts to myself and hide in a corner. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, like I said, if I was in the house, if I was in the mansion, I would be in a corner. I've already said
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I would be in a corner. I would be talking. I would pick one person and I would talk to them probably the whole time,
Yeah.
to be honest.
That's it.
And then once they left, I'd be like, I can make food. Do you want me to make food? I'll make you food. And that's like all I would offer. I would be like the jack of the house or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be going around going, oh my God, these candles look amazing. Wow, look at this pool. What an amazing, wow, that gazebo. That's some
Look at that.
craftsmanship. Wow, how many candles are in this room? At least 100. That would be me. Le Creuset in the kitchen. Wow, amazing. Um, yeah, so she went home. I still feel like there's something weird that happened, but maybe there isn't. Maybe it is. She was just really tired and she got
Mhm.
upset. We'll find out maybe in the Women Tell All. My favorite part is when Jesse says it's the most important rose ceremony yet, because you can literally say that any week and it would be true.
Any week, and it's true. It is.
Uh, and then, okay, this was interesting too. This was a very, this, he should have been like the most dramatic jacket wearing, coat wearing rose ceremony yet, because I'm not used to them wearing coats during the
No,
rose
everybody was
ceremony.
chilly in Spain that night.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they're all wearing coats. So we get Latia, Juliana, Alex, Zoe, Carolina. So then, wait, no, wait, why did I write Juliana? Juliana's gone. Who did I miss? Right? Juliana went home.
No,
Parisa went home.
Juliana's alive. Parisa went home. Natalie went home. Uh,
Natalie, that's who I meant.
yep.
Natalie went
Rose
home.
quit.
See,
That's
I
it.
literally keep ignoring Natalie. I keep going, she exists.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah.
even wrote Juliana in my notes. And I was like, no, that doesn't make sense because I have Juliana here. Natalie went home and then
Mhm.
Parisa. And then I was really upset about it. And I did post about this on Blue Sky. No pickup. Absolutely zero engagement for this post. So come on, go over there. Go like this post. But she was like, maybe I talked about rocks too much. And I was like, no, you didn't
No.
talk about rocks too much. You
You
should have
didn't
talked
talk
about
about
them
rocks enough.
more.
Talk about it
Yeah.
more.
Talk about rocks more.
We're
If
very pro
Parisa is
rock
not on
here.
Paradise, I am rioting. She needs to be there.
She needs
She
to
is
be. Yeah.
built for Paradise. She is perfect. Do you know how many rocks and bugs and beings she's going to get to go hang out with? She's going to be so happy. Everybody's
Mhm.
like afraid of all the stuff on the beach. She's going to go seek out the stuff on the beach. I need her to meet Gabby immediately. I need
Oh my
those two to
god.
become
She's gonna get
friends.
chased by crabs. It's gonna be awesome.
Can you imagine like her, Gabby, and Demi in a room together?
I love
Oh
that.
my God. I need it. I need it.
There's
Okay.
your next podcast, Bachelor
Parisa,
Nation. Make that
please.
happen.
Parisa, you got to become friends with these ladies. They will totally welcome you with open arms. You are all the same person in different fonts. And I am so excited for you to meet each other. And like, can you imagine? Okay, Parisa takes Gabby's like poetry that she does, her TikTok poetry,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
she puts that in a scrapbook.
Oh,
Okay, and then Demi takes it and she crochets it on something. I'm just telling you, this is a friendship that should have already happened, and I hope it
should be
happens
happening.
soon.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that's all I have, and then they're going to Scotland next week, which is exciting.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book that's set in Scotland right now.
And someone, I think it's actually Carolina tries to do a Scottish accent, and it's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's like a
Yeah,
pirate accent or something. She's just like,
yeah,
"Ahoy, matey, we're in Scotland."
it's not like I could do any
Uh,
better, honestly. So,
no,
but yeah, I'm listening to a book that's set in like a remote island in like Scotland, and spooky things are happening. So that's all. That's where my mind is in. I'm just like weird haunted Scotland.
that's it. That's all there is there.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm like, what kind of major dates are coming up? Nothing. We're in that weird in between time where like nothing is happening,
Mhm.
and it has been so cold here.
It's been miserable.
I don't even
Absolutely
want to do
miserable.
anything. Yeah, it was like negative. It was like feels like negative 30 something in the morning yesterday. And I went, feels like I'm staying home. That's
Mhm.
what I'm doing. So, friends, if that is your situation, I hope you stay safe and I hope you stay warm and maybe you crochet yourself something. Maybe you, if you've been watching the show, if you watched the show Laid, this is not a spoiler, but they say instead of hot chocolate, they say hochos, and that's been really big in our house. So, like, maybe make yourself a hocho, and get cozy and watch Traders instead, which I have to catch up on.
Mm. And don't do needle drugs. Needle point, not needle drugs.
Yes,
That's your
I love
winter mantra.
needlepoint.
We love needlepoint.
Yeah. I haven't watched any of Love Is Blind yet, but of course it takes place near me, so it's all anyone's talking about.
Yeah, because
So we'll
apparently
talk
all the
about
men
that.
are trash.
It's a bad season. Yeah, it's bleak.